Hello everybody and welcome back to Hippo Cup. Bit of an unusual schedule today. We've actually got loser bracket round 2. I believe that is going to be still on the semi-finals pool, I want to say. We are just 1 week behind on this match, but it's going to be Z10a derank Tax versus GIORGIS. Two solid teams who were taken out slightly earlier in the tournament. Z10a found themselves losing 7-4 against the Irishmen, whereas GIORGIS, they lost earlier in the tournament in the first week after the group stage 6-4 against Funny Emirake, and proceeded to beat Ardor Xfire 7-3, and now up for their third match of the group stage. I'm iFlame, and it looks like it's just going to be me for the time being. We may very well get another commentator join us later, but remains to be seen. We've got quite the schedule going on at the moment. 14:45 is going to be this first match then. We've got a match at 16:15 UTC, 2 matches at 17 UTC, and a match at 17:30 as well. It's going to be quite the day. Looks like we are just waiting for the first ban from Jackpacks here on the side of GIORGIS. And of course, because this one is a little bit behind, it is going to be, the winner of this is going to play up against Quit School, who has recently beaten New Zealand 7-4. And the winner of that will play Funny Emirake, the team that originally beat GIORGIS in that very first week of the bracket stage. So if GIORGIS can pull this one off, they've potentially got a bit of rematch on their hands, assuming they can win the match after that as well. But they've still got a long way to go. Team Z10a are incredibly powerful. I mean, let's talk about some of these notable roster players while we look at these bands. The second highest team by ranking. Obviously, that seeding is just based on rank, so it's not super consequential, but some very notable players. Captain Hifkill, of course, Z10a, the player the team is named after, and lots of other strong players like Defi, Listia, Musty, and Satsuki to watch out for. A lot of players that are quite good on some of those older, more gimmicky style of maps. Then on the side of GIORGIS, certainly can't count them out. We've got Jackpacks, the captain. We've got players like Townie and Uskrukulilo. And also players like Fuyu, Marvel, Naked as well to watch out for. So lots of strong players on both sides. We are going to get Hard Rock 4, the first band to come out from GIORGIS. And it seems like we are on the semi-finals map pool here, showing. Still waiting to see that next band. Two teams certainly taking their time with this one. Yeah, I have to concur with the players. Scheduling has been a bit of a mess this week. It's crazy to have so many match overlaps this late in the tournament, but that is how it tends to go. Of course, we don't have stats on these teams for the semifinals. For that, we have to go back to the quarterfinals where GIORGIS had strong scores on things like the Nomad 2. So that's potentially something to watch out for, but running dangerously close to their timer, but do get that ban, and it's going to be the Nomad 8. That is going to be Shujo Nishitsu, which is going to be our CS 6.5 Nomad precision pick. Rather interesting after that Hard Rock 4 Hard Rock precision pick, which is the CS 7.8, was banned out by GIORGIS, so neither team really liking that precision this time around. Nomad 8, much more of a focus on the aim control than the raw precision aim, so maybe Team Z10a just not liking that aspect of the pick rather than the precision itself. And as we wait for that second ban to come through, those precision picks really gone from the pool. Nothing more to ban out there. So we should see a pretty different plan from what we saw in the Hard Rock 4, and it will be the case. We're going to see DT2 banned out, one of the shorter maps in the pool at 1 minute and 3 seconds in length. That one is going to be a tapping focused DT map, as DT2 so often are. We wait for the last ban here. Minus is the last team we leave to play this semi-finals match. So we do have lots of statistics to work with for the semi-finals, at least not from these two teams, unfortunately. The Hard Rock 4, actually 1 pick, no bans start the tournament. That DT2 finding a couple bans, and surprisingly a popular one. And it's going to be the first ban for the Nomad 8 as well. And every map except for the Fremont 3 has had some presence in the tournament so far, whether it be in terms of picks or bans. Fremont 3, last remaining map that's wandered, that has not been picked or banned in the semifinals. And that's going to be a kind of, it's got a variety of skill sets. It's got some flowy streams, has a couple bursts at a lower AR, and it's got some awkward aim, snap alt type patterns as well to watch out for. So it's certainly not something I expect to see banned out here, but maybe we will get to see it picked at some point in this match. That's a very interesting ban, the free mod 1. Free mod 1 is going to be another kind of mix of snap alts and slider aim. Has some perfect stacks as well, which makes it pretty tricky on the hidden. So I guess they really feel up to playing that. One thing that you do see banned out pretty often is these low AR maps. Both open this time around. We have Nomad 5 Levitating for Dua Lipa, the AR8 Nomad map, and the AR8 free mod, and Vestra Fung, that free mod 2. And so I would not be surprised to see either of those picked early on. I would say off the top of my head that those kinds of maps probably favor Z10a slightly, but I don't think either team have, you know, full dedicated reading rosters necessarily. I think, of course, both teams have players that are relatively strong on the lower AR picks, but putting together a full 4-player roster is a whole nother matter, and so it'll be a bit of a game of chicken, because if you can pick one of those AR8 maps, makes the second one potentially a lot more pickable, especially considering you kind of have to have the 2 hiddens anyways, so there's always going to be that added difficulty. But it's certainly going to be a risk for either team, and we're going straight into the free mod 3 pick. I'm glad to see, this is the one I mentioned, the only map that so far has not been picked or banned, and we're going to get to start this one off with a free mod 3 double impact. This one, as I mentioned, mix of skill sets, get to see some good variety. Only a minute and 48 seconds in length, so rather short. Curious to see what we see in terms of overmods. Of course, that easy. Not going to be allowed, I think, throughout Hippo Cup. We have seen a lot of overmods from players who really like playing the hidden hard rock. I think at this stage of the tournament, it's going to be less common, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple. It looks like we've got most of our lineup in for z10a. Just waiting on one more for GIORGIS. We've got Akuma no Tenshi in for this one, along with Defi or Defy, z10a, and one player is currently loading in. Still waiting on the last player for GIORGIS as well. I do wonder if we're going to see a Scooper on a map like this, but they do have a couple options here to run with. Jack Pack says team is trolling, so they've presumably got some debate as to who this last player is going to be, and it's just going to be GIORGIS, subject of the team name here. And I actually got both players from the team names facing off in the lobby, so we'll keep an eye on that battle. Good luck, have funs in the chat. Hopefully that last slot loads in properly. I believe it is Listia based on the chat messages. Maybe we can get the referee to confirm. And it's going to be a Scooper over GIORGIS. That makes a lot more sense to me. And we do see the mod combinations. It is going to be a slight overmod for Naked, but not a heavy one. Going to be hitting hard rock there. County taking the hard rock, whereas on the side of z10a we've got a hard rock on Defy, and I believe it is going to be Listia on the hidden, and we do get confirmation that that is Listia, who does find a miss. So out of the gates, it is going to be pretty even. If Scooper finds the miss, that's going to make it 2 FCs to 1 in favor of z10a. Make that 1 FC to 1. But Akuma no Tenshi not too far behind. It's unfortunately just been more chain misses for GIORGIS overall. And so while those 2 FCs are canceling each other out, it's just better support for z10a, and they're going to find themselves up by about 1 million points. And this is a short map, we're already halfway through. Now this FC from Jackpacks has a lot of potential to swing this match in favor of GIORGIS if Defi finds a miss on this hard rock, which is not an easy mod on this map. We do see more misses coming out from GIORGIS though. Townie finds the next one. There goes Akuma. That's a big supporting combo drop, and the SC gone from z10a. If Jackpacks can hold, has a chance to bring this one back, but needs to hold for likely the rest of the map at this point because the support is just not there. Rest of the team has broken. The score lead is shrinking, but can Jackpax hold? No, Jackpax misses at the fatal moment. It's down to 1,000,000 points, but z10a doing a good job recovering. That pattern claims the entire lobby. But a trade of misses this late into the match is going to favor z10a. Something, unfortunately, Georgis can't afford, and they're going to run out of time on this one. z10a, they're going to take the first point in this match. It was a good effort from Jackpax, but just could not hold it together. The ending of this map is just so difficult. And really impressive score from Bai on that Hard Rock as well. And it was their first pick, so you certainly expect z10a derank packs to take that one. And no surprises at the end of the day. We now wait for the first pick from Georgis. And I am curious if we're going to see a lot more of the mechanics-focused picks from this team. Things that are more aim-heavy, a little more tech-heavy, or something I could see them doing quite well on. In between players like Jackpax and Lilo. Skill set they both tend to excel on. But early on, it's going to be pretty tough to call the picks. I mean, you have so many players on the team, and there's just so many options to choose from at this stage. You know, I don't think the Nomad 1 would be a bad option for them, but I do feel it's a little bit early for that kind of pick. Tends to be something teams save for later in the match. And the ref mentioned earlier that we do have 90-second timers instead of the more typical 120-second timers, so it is something both teams have to be aware of. Make sure you get your picks in on time. You don't want to forfeit a pick, because at this stage of the tournament, could very well end up costing you the match, and they've got quite a few players sitting in the lobby. Captains are keeping an eye on the timers to make sure they get those picks in. Speaking of got timer anyways, so they're going to get their bit of extra time to pick this time around. But yeah, not going to be the end of the world. We're going to get a Nomad 2 pick from Georgis. This one is, I mean, this is a pretty long, pretty generic Nomad 2. This is, I want to say, the longest map in the pool outside of the tiebreaker. It is at 4 minutes and 22 seconds, and this is just going to be 196 BPM stream map, about as standard as it gets. And so this is certainly one where I do expect to see a lot of higher combos on, especially early on in the map. Just because the mapping is relatively comfortable compared to a lot of the other maps in the pool. And so it's the kind of thing where 1-2 players could make a big difference here. And looks like teams are going to be running largely similar rosters so far. Trush Pack is a new player in for Georgis, but otherwise, we are going to have the same roster. And same 3 players in for z10a D-rank packs as well. Just waiting on that last player. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Deathy come back into the lobby once again. And unsurprisingly, right there. I mean, the nice thing about this still being little bit delayed in terms of match is that we have some stats to work with for this map. Aheo put up an absolutely absurd 61 million points on the map. And it was a team score of 145 million points. So we're certainly going to see a lot of higher scores. But on average, scores are between 20 and 30 million for most players. So that's going to kind of be the benchmark to keep an eye on based on what we've seen so far. And if anybody can surpass that 30 million score mark, that is an incredibly strong score from whoever can manage to hit it. If you're getting below 20 million on this, I think it's a little bit of a rough score. So we will see how it goes. We do see the early miss from Defy. Listia as well follows it up with a miss of their own. It's going to be early lead over to GIORGIS, but we've not really gotten into the tricky part of the map yet, and there's a lot of combo to be had in this map, so there's plenty of time for recovery. It is after the slower section, the map really starts to pick up. It immediately claims 2 combos on the side of GIORGIS. That's going to put z10a right back in this one. It's now going to be 2 FCs to 2, but it is notably Defy on that big recovery combo. It's going to bring the Scully back over. That's a big chain miss from Listia, but was already the combo down. One other FC gone from GIORGIS now. Make that 2 FCs to 1, and that claims almost the whole lobby, but it's going to be 1 FC on either side that managed to hold Naked and z10a absolutely popping off so far on this map. And Naked on the hidden, such impressive accuracy here, but those are going to be the players to watch now. If either one of them misses and does not see that miss traded, their counterpart has the chance to absolutely start to run away with this one, as they're already approaching 12 million score, only third away to the map, and now it's pretty much all eyes on these 2 players. We're very unlikely to see both of them FC'ing, so it all comes down to who's going to miss first. And their combos are going to be so much bigger than pretty much the rest of the lobby that unless they miss at similar times, the supporting combos aren't going to be super relevant. But for now, they both continue to hold these FCs, so the supporting combos are of course all that matter. And they are going to favor z10a derank tax, as Lilo has just had a solid start, but just has had a tough time recovering after those kind of middle of the map misses. Townie as well, down at 200 combo, is just not quite there, and so it's a lot of pressure on Naked to hold things together. There goes Listia, but GIORGIS needs a little bit more. There's a second miss for the side of z10a. This is the beginning of what GIORGIS needs, but Naked cannot afford to miss on this pattern, nails it. This is the hardest part of the map now. Can these FCs hold? The rest of the combos are falling left and right, but the key player is holding strong. It's the battle of the supporting combos as well between Trushpack and Defy. GIORGIS very much not out of this one. They're down by 5 million, but on a map like this, the score lead can swing so incredibly quickly. But Trushpack, the big supporting combo from GIORGIS, falls, and now it is all on Naked. There goes Naked! That is a massive miss, and this one should go over to z10a rank. Now Defy misses, but z10a just does not miss. This is an incredible score. He mentioned that benchmark of 30 million points, and z10a already up to 43 million. Finally finds the miss, but the damage has been done. They are so far ahead, and this is going to be a break point on GIORGIS' first pick. And a valiant effort from Naked, but unfortunately just wasn't enough, and a bit of a... They really just didn't have any strong secondary supporting combo. You can see the rest of the team 12 million score or lower, which is a fair bit lower than we saw from anybody on either of Dog Breaking or Funyamrake when those 2 teams played it. And it never feels great to lose your first pick. I think that goes without saying. Your first pick is the one you expect to win the most handedly. But it is going to be a best of 13, right? So there's lots of matches to be played. GIORGIS are far from out of this one. Need to keep their mental strong, and they've got plenty of time to find this break point back later on in the match. Yeah, let's be honest, stream map is definitely not something you see too often, but when z10a does that, it doesn't really matter. And in terms of actual score gap, it definitely wasn't great for GIORGIS, but it wasn't quite as bad as it felt because it's such a high scored map overall. The score gap of 30 million tends to be a little bit exaggerated. And in fact, 30 million was the exact same as the score difference we saw last time this map was played. We are going for DT3 Acromat. Got apparently a whole lot of triples and buzz sliders with some aim. $248 BPM, but there's not too many kind of longer bursts, so not really going to be a speed issue for either of these teams. This is another one of those maps where an individual player can absolutely make the difference. I guess that's going to be true more and more as we get farther into the tournament and the maps get harder, but this map especially, I mean, looking at previous scores, you got a lot of scores in the 3 to 6 million range, but we've seen some very strong scores as high as 8 or even 12, close to 13 million on this map. So, you know, if you can put up, 12 million when everybody else is getting 3, you can get pretty close to 1v4. Ollie going to be making their first appearance for z10a in this match, as is GIORGIS, or, well, Team GIORGIS. Ollie says they're going to drop a C rank. Well, let's hope we get something like a z10a performance says that C rank doesn't matter. Here we go into Acromat, this DT3 z10a. Can you consolidate this break point? Because this is such a short map, these early breaks are going to matter. Really, as soon as we get 200, even 250 combo in, those early breaks are going to start to be pretty relevant. I mean, those 2 early misses, 3 early misses actually, 100 combo behind, not going to be the end of the world, really. not going to swing things too much one way or the other, but after this easier section, we really get into the map, and this is where things really start to matter, and teams can no longer afford these early misses on easier sections. Need to be on top of things. That's a miss from Listia. Defy and Trash Pack all fall, as does GIORGIS. The entire bottom of the screen having a bad time with that one. Top half of the screen looking incredibly good, though. Ollie and Neck gonna trade, and there goes pretty much everybody. Defy, not the highest combo in the lobby at just 175, so this one is going to remain incredibly close, but GIORGIS, despite not having anyone left FC, have just built up consistently slightly higher combos on each of their members, so they find themselves about 800,000 points ahead. It's far from a safe lead, but you have to start somewhere, but it's continued misses from Z10A. Lots of pressure on Defy now, but being matched by both Trash Pack and GIORGIS, and still a third of the map to go, but it's not a tricky section. That chain miss from Jackpacks is going to keep things closer, but Listia finds yet another miss. There's the two big combos from GIORGIS gone, and Defy now has a chance to bring this one back. It's going to go over so quickly, especially with the sporting combo from Akuma no Tenshi. And it was looking so good for GIORGIS right up until the very end, but it looks like Z10A are going to manage to consolidate their breakpoint. That's going to be quite a solid team score. And they just needed one of GIORGIS or Trash Pack to hold on to that combo. But unfortunately, they both fell on the same pattern, and that handed the point right over to Z10A, who are going to be up by 3, but still only up 1 break point. So as long as GIORGIS can win their next pick, it's not going to be too bad for them. But this does start to be the bit of a critical point in the match. You know, right now, yes, you're down by 3, but you're really only down by 1 break point. Not the end of the world, especially in a best of 13. You give up a second break point in a row this early in the match, and all of a sudden things feel like they're falling apart a bit. Z10A gets the next pick, potentially putting themselves up 5-0. So this is not technically a must-win for GIORGIS, but it can certainly feel like it, because going down 4-0 here is a score that is very rare to see teams come back from. I imagine they'll be taking their time with this pick, considering carefully. Looks like they will be going back into DTs. We've got Electric Angel, which is, of course, going to be a very different style of DT. This is going to be a lot more aim. You've got some slider aim. There are some finger control, as well as some longer bursts at 225 BPM, which should be pretty manageable for most of these players. I mean, at this rank range, 225 is really nothing special. It's going to be aim that is the main focus here, and I do think aim is probably the way to go for GIORGIS. They've got a lot of very strong aim players. I expect we're going to see a Scruply Low back in for this one. Jackpacks as well, certainly a player to watch here. And current best score on the map, 12.6 million from Osberg, it in an S rank. So this is certainly a map where you have potential for some very high scores. If players are comfortable on the map, then you can certainly expect to see some high combos. Probably not on a site reach, so Listia is probably not going to be that player. It's by no means an easy map, though. Despite the potential for high combos, I would not be surprised to see a lot of significantly lower scores as well on a map like this. It can be quite a polarizing map. You can either play it decently well and put up a few million, or you can not play it at all and you get like a million points on the map and are not that useful. So we'll have to see how it goes. Naked is going to be the first to miss, but very quickly followed up by about 5 more misses, so that initial miss from Naked is going to end up being pretty relevant. And it's now been every member of Z10a has now dropped. Jackpack's now the last one holding the FC. We'll see how long Jackpacks can hold this for. With the rest of the lobby missing, Jackpacks is well poised to carry this one for GIORGIS, but now having to fend off both Z10a and Bruno Tenchi. Townie, they're supporting but the other 4 players in the lobby, not finding much combo whatsoever. That miss for Akuma no Tenchi really going to hurt Z10a, and GIORGIS going to start to pull away now in terms of score. As long as they can hold on to these 2 big combos, I mean, we see a lot more misses. That's a full team wipe from Z10a. That is going to be devastating for their chances, and Jackpack's popping off, as is Townie. Townie does find the miss, but honestly, as long as Jackpack's holds, nothing else matters. Now up to 4 million points, only halfway through the map, and Jackpacks is currently about 1 million points off of a 4v1. This is an incredibly good pick from GIORGIS. It is absolute domination right now. And the question is only now, I think, can Jackpacks beat our weekend's best score from Osbert, who is also playing the DT HD? Quarter of the map remaining now. It is a sure point. Jackpacks misses right before the slider. So not quite going to get there, but still more than enough to get the points, which is the most important thing. And is going to be getting the second best score of the weekend on the map, which is certainly nothing to scoff at. And vitally, GIORGIS do get that critical point. They don't find themselves down 4-0, which means they are very much still in this match. They don't seem all that confident based on their chat messages. They're main down by only 1 break point, and especially as we get later into the picks, get more and more opportunities to get those break points back as the picks get less favored, less confident for either side. And these 2 low AR picks, still untouched. Neither team has opted to take that risk yet. But just based on the dominance of that win, I think it gives some nice direction for GIORGIS in terms of their future picks. Would not be surprised at all to see them go right back to aim during their next pick. And there are quite a few good aim options left in the map. Obviously, you're looking at that Nomad 1 primarily. You do have a few other, you do have Levitating, which it is low AR, but it is still an aim-focused map. Even the Hard Rock 1, which is kind of a higher BPM, slightly more awkward aim, RLC map. But Z10a, they've got the pick before that, and they're going to go into Fastest Crash. This is a 315 BPM, more of a light tech pick. And interestingly enough, this is a map that's easier to not miss on, but very easy to slider break on because of how tricky some of these sliders are. We've seen this played in 2 matches, and there have been a lot of kind of lower scoring S ranks, interestingly enough. Our top scorers for the weekend have all been A ranks rather than the S ranks. But we have seen a couple scores that are way above the average from players like Gonza, Maxim, as well as Haga. And so this one is, I mean, I think I've said this for a lot of maps. We talk so much in Hippo Cup about solo carry potential because with Score V1, it's just so relevant for so many maps, more so than you would see in any other tournament, because Score V2 balances that out, and so it's generally not something you have to think about nearly as much. But on a map like this, for every team that's played it, except for New Zealand, there has been one player that has been far above the rest. We'll see if that's the case for these 2 teams. And Jorgis says congrats on the SK win, as I imagine SK has beaten France in 3WC, a match I was originally going to commentate, but this potential ended up happening instead of the other potential, I think because Jorgis won their match, so I am here instead. But I know South Korea was the higher seeded team in that match, so not a big shocker. Jorgis, Jackpacks. Oh, France might have won. Oh, no way. Oh. Oh, and France did win. Okay, wow. In tiebreaker. Sorry for spoilers, I guess, but I don't know how many people are watching the matches back afterward without checking the score first. But congratulations to France then. That was a big upset for them. I'm sure Hipkill, as well as Satsuki, who I want to say is also French, going to be very happy to hear about that result. But right now, they are focused on Hippo Cup, and they are focused on fastest crash. We see a lot of drops early on, but we see these fast players holding on to their combos. Defy, Satsuki, and Jackpacks are the names to watch right now. That extra FC for Z10a is doing so much work here. It's better recoveries on Jorgis, but they're not quite enough to make up for the FC right now. There goes Satsuki though. Now it's going to be 1 FC to 1, but Jorgis with significantly better supporting combos should bring this one back over as long as Jackpacks doesn't find the miss. Hip kill is there, but it's not quite enough to keep this in favor of Z10a. Plenty of maps still to come. There's only a third way to go, and there's a very tricky section coming up here. If kill finds the miss, there is still that big FC from Defy, but the only thing standing between Jorgis and this point right now, Jackpacks and Townie once again going off on this pick. And Jackpacks with really solid accuracy as well. Looking pretty comfortable, along with Hipkill and Defy. Halfway through the map. 3 million points for Jorgis. It's a nice lead, but it's certainly not safe as long as Defy holds this FC. Townie finds the miss, and now the pressure is on Jackpacks. Needs to keep matching Defy because the support for Jorgis has fallen off now. Ultimately, as long as Jackpacks doesn't miss. There's the miss from Jackpacks. Now this one's going to go back over so quickly. 1,200 combo is so massive. And look at that score bar fly right over to Z10a. This is the single carry performance from Defy that we were looking for. And Defy at this point, well on their way to an FC on this map. Just needs to hit the ending. And looks like Defy is going to close this one out. An absolutely incredible score. This is exactly what I meant about how much 1v4 potential there was on this map. Defy pulls out the FC and is 4 million points behind the entire team of Georgis. You know, Jack Pax does unfortunately get that one miss, nearly there. And that's going to be the top score of the weekend on the map, 4-5, out of 4 teams that have played it. So very impressive stuff here. It is going to be 4-1 for Z10A. And yeah, credit to Jack Pax. Certainly was the second best player on that map. But unfortunately for Jack Pax, once you get past 1K combo, the combo scaling is just so absurd that you can pretty much 1v4 anybody when you're that far ahead. Rolling for picks, so we're surely getting map number 82. Wondering if we see Giorgis now go back to that aim. There's not actually too much straight aim. I mean, in terms of straight aim, you're probably looking at specifically the No Mod 1. I mean, yes, there's the No Mod, I think that's the No Mod 5, but the AR8 is probably going to scare them off it a little bit. They're going to go for No Mod 6 instead. It's going to be Beat Rice. I think this is a relatively well-known No Mod 6, I would say. A very rhythmic pick. It's 240 BPM, so it does have a couple faster bursts to watch out for, but nothing too crazy in terms of burst, so speed not a huge concern. It's an interesting pick. After their DT1 success, they've not gone back to the aim. And in my mind, the logic is that Jack Pax was very much the big carry on that DT1 and nearly had the 1v4 with a really impressive score. And so if Jack Pax doesn't feel like put up a similar score on some of the other aim picks, then maybe you opt into picks the team as a whole are more comfortable on. Ollie Satsuki back in the lobby for Z10A. Giorgis running with, at this point, pretty standard lineup for them. Definitely curious to see how this one plays out. Very different style of map from really anything we've seen so far in this match. And we'll keep an eye on our hidden players, because this is one of those picks where the hidden definitely adds some difficulty. I think for these players it should be manageable, but we'll have a slightly harder time. Already we do see 2 early misses. And I believe that Nomad 6 is our most picked map, with now a 100% pick rate for the weekend, the only map to be 100% pick rate for the weekend. As we get a third of the way into the map though, it's going to be 2 FCs on the side of Giorgis, none on the side of Z10A, but they've got 3 really strong recoveries. Make that 1 really strong recovery. As a rough set of misses for them. Thankfully, Naked does trade back, but there goes Defy. Last big combo down for them, and now Jackpax once again is going to start to run away with this one. And GIORGIS, they seem to have found their winning strategy here. Just pick whatever Jackpax is comfortable on and let Jackpax try and 1v4. And is certainly not far off doing that here. As we will get the client reloaded and hopefully get back into this one, not miss too much. Oh, Listia has crashed. That is unfortunate, but I mean, to be honest, Jackpax is going to FC this, and so the Listia crash is going to end up being completely irrelevant anyways, because Jackpax is 1v3 and then Listia is not beating the rest of the team. And that is Jackpax with the top score of the weekend. Second FC along with Misha Awa. And it seems like Listia back in the lobby. So hopefully we don't get any more crashes there. Because although it wasn't relevant on this map, certainly could be relevant on future maps, especially if you've seen as that crash was over halfway into the map, so not avoidable. And I mean, there is that bit of anxiety as well. Listia will probably be worried about crashing again, so hopefully we don't get more of those. But as z10a ponders their next pick here, it is GIORGIS who kind of have to wait, bide their time, patiently waiting for their chance to get this breakpoint back they gave up in their very first pick of the match. They're still looking for that one back. We'll see if they can do so here. But I feel like z10a still have quite a few solid picks left. I'm not sure there's anything that's like so heavily in their favor anymore. But there is a lot of like aim control options left in the pool that haven't been touched that could be pretty interesting for them. A few DT options available as well, as these teams have really liked picking DTTs, both DT5 and DT6. Still open. It's going to be a no mod 3. And it seems like we are getting an aim control tech here. It's got some tricky sliders, but also some tricky wiggle patterns that these players are going to watch out for. Some very tough 1-6 patterns as well that could claim a lot of combos if you've not practiced the map. This map, counter to some of the maps we've seen previously, has shown to be incredibly balanced in terms of team score. Actually, very little solo carry potential unless we see something really insane. But this is truly going to be a team battle for the score from all 4 players. Is going to be relevant. It certainly feels like one of the harder maps in the pool. We've seen a lot of lower accuracies as well. And so this is one of the few maps that could be a factor on. Obviously, accuracy with score v1, pretty relevant 99% of the time, but it can matter a little bit once you start getting to, 10% accuracy differences, if we do end up seeing that much of a disparity. And it looks like we've got z10a, Satsuki, Listia, and Ollie in for z10a derank packs. And for GIORGIS, we've got Jackpax, Townie, Naked, and Scrupulilo. Their go-to seems to be their core 4 for the most part. incredibly short map as well, so we're going to see a lot of misses, and these early misses are going to matter a lot. Look at that early accuracy drop from Ollie. It is so easy if you miss one note to find a huge chain miss, absolutely tank your accuracy, and it's just so hard to recover. Off to a really strong start on the side of Team GIORGIS. Townie is going to find the first miss for them. Whereas on the side of z10a, it's been both Ollie and Listia finding repeated misses. Naked, the next to drop for GIORGIS, finds a big chain miss, but there goes the rest of Team z10a. Now it's Jackpax and Scrupulilo, but that pattern is just so brutal. It claims most of the lobby. It's now z10a with the better supporting combos. They're going to start to reclaw this score lead back ever so slowly. Ollie, the player who struggled the most early on for Team z10a, now their big carry, the one with the highest combo in the lobby, the one who needs to hold for them. A bit of a slower section. This is going to be really nice for Ollie to bring this score lead back before it gets really tricky again, but the slow section doesn't have enough note density to bring the score lead back over. Ollie is going to need to nail these first couple patterns, but immediately finds a slider break. The score lead is not going to go back over, but it is incredibly close. Anyone's game. It is a full lobby reset. It's going to come down to the miscounts. It's going to come down to the chain misses in the ending. There's a big one from Townie, but Ollie finds the bigger chain miss. One from Naked. Nobody's been able to really build up any combo. Jackpax and his Scrupulilo doing their best. They're keeping this score lead at about 500k. As the map winds down, it looks like this 200 combo from Jackpax is going to be enough. And GIORGIS, biding their time, being ever so patient. They've got their breakpoint back. And this match is all evened up. Of course, down by 1 point still. But they have the next pick. And for the first time in quite a while, they've got a chance to tie this one up. Yeah, I don't know what Jackpax's match cost is right now, but I would not be surprised if it is insanely high. Jackpax has been playing phenomenally well today. And I guess the scary part for GIORGIS at this point is that the breakpoint is nice, but of course you still have to consolidate. And we're getting late enough into the match now. The picks are a lot less guaranteed. A lot more breakpoint potential at this stage. The picks are starting to get a lot less clear. So they're going to have to pick carefully. And apparently Jackpax currently has 2.45 match cost on Flashlight, 3.33 on Bathbot, depending on which method you prefer. Let's see it, the hardest pattern in the map, nothing else. I mean, hey, that's the moral victory. You don't necessarily put up a good score on the map, but hey, that dopamine hit from hitting that hardest pattern, that's about as good as any point. We've got Hard Rock 3. This one is a banger. This one going to be one of our first really heavy aim control picks in the map. This one is pretty much just a really heavy aim control, low stream type hard rock map. Obviously, we have had some maps that have tested game control, but we haven't had anything quite this flowy. And so this is going to be a good test for these players. This is one of those maps that can be very tricky if you're not proficient on the skill set. And if you're not comfortable on the map, it's very easy to find massive chain misses on some of these patterns. It is a great pick, I agree. Power Age, of course, on the chat, is the mapper of this one. So shout out to Power Age for bringing us this incredible Hard Rock 3. It looks like the rosters are in Musty. I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first time we're seeing Musty in for this match. Kill as well. We have seen before, of course, but hasn't played a lot of maps for Z10A. As we just wait for the players to add the Hard Rock. They do need to add it themselves because all the maps are going to be free mod because 2 players have to take in as well on each team. So the ref can't just throw the HR on everybody like usual. Here we go, moment of truth for GIORGIS. You pick the HR3, off into the flow aim. Now it's the test of whether they can consolidate this breakpoint and truly even up this match, or whether Z10A can get one right back, and we'll find ourselves back where we were a couple maps ago. Already we see misses left, right, and center. We're down to 1 FC on either team. Everybody else struggling with this map. That pattern claims most lobby, but it's more combos that remain on the side of Z10A. They are to a slight lead, but there's a full team reset for them. Jackpacks once again on the biggest combo in the lobby. Big chain miss, though. It's going to stem the bleeding a little bit, but GIORGIS are going to continue to pull away with these combos from Escrupulilo and Naked. Z10A doing their best to recover, but not quite matching. Big misses from Escrupulilo and Townie. That's going to flip the score lead back over incredibly quickly. This is a good team effort from Z10A right now to bring this one back. Meanwhile, a lot of pressure on Naked, but there are a couple of very tough patterns coming up. Claims the last 2 big combos on GIORGIS. Jackpacks and Naked fall. Everybody on Z10A hits that pattern. Akuma, no Tenshi falls shortly after, but they hold on to 3 big combos. And they're in a fantastic spot right now. There's a third of the map to go. If they can hold on to these 3 combos for another 10 seconds, they should be able to close this one out no problem. GIORGIS just don't have the combos to bring this one back. There goes Musty. That's 1 combo down. If kill quickly to follow. But with Z10A holding, GIORGIS just do not stand a chance. And all their hard work on the previous map is for naught. Z10A once again are going to find themselves up by 1 breakpoint, as this is an incredible score from Z10A. Nearly 800 combo to close this one out. And a 6.7 million individual score. And I mean, such strong scores across the board from Team Z10A. Their lowest score was better than Team GIORGI's best score. So in hindsight, I think safe to say that definitely was not the pick for Team GIORGIS. But as they say, hindsight is 2020. Hard to know, and especially on a pool like Hippo Cup, where pooling is far from standard because there's so many extra no mods and DTs. It's hard to know what kind of score a team will put up on a given map any week. Z10A, they pick correctly here, put themselves on match point. A lot of pressure on Z10A. Now, if Georgi wins this match, then they will be playing again immediately after in about, 25 minutes time now. So if they do win, they're going to want to close this one out as quickly as possible, but it's looking more and more like GIORGIS, if they are going to win this match, are going to have to do so in tiebreaker, as z10a only needs one more point to secure this tiebreaker. And if this match ends up going to the distance and GIORGIS ends up winning, they're going to have to play pretty much immediately after. They might get 5 minutes break max, but it's certainly going to be, well, could be a little tough for them. On one hand, they are warmed up, but that is a lot of Osu to play, especially when you're, playing in a tournament. You're not just different when you're playing solo, because you can kind of play whatever you want. You can retry a bunch of times, but being locked in tournament mode for 3 straight hours is no easy feat. But GIORGIS, they've got to win this match for that to be relevant at all. Of course, if z10a, derank, Tax win this one, then our next match will be at 17 UTC, and z10a won't play again until 17:30. So they'll have a little bit of time to rest if they are the winners. We do now get the no mod 4 pick, the Hometown in Ruins. Got a slider tech pick. This is another one of those maps that you do expect to be much more of a team battle. Not the kind of map that we've generally seen one player be able to hard carry. And I think that's smart from z10a. With how well Jax has been playing, pick some of these harder maps that come down more to team differences, because as a whole, z10a, they've been significantly stronger as a team, it feels like, throughout this match. They've just been getting beat by Jackpacks quite a few times, so pick something Jackpacks can't 1v4 on, use that to your advantage. Feels like really good pick strategy here from z10a, so big credit to them. But as much as I can hype up their pick strategy and their no mod 4 pick, they still have to go out and actually win the map. See if they can do that here. Listia back in along with Ollie, who does find the first miss. Twice. Getting caught out by that slow slider. Struggling on the accuracy as well. I guess not so comfortable on this pick. Obviously, accuracy for the actual score itself pretty relevant, but can be a good indicator of how comfortable players on the map. That is a really brutal slider. Claims everybody but 2 players, Listia and Jackpacks, the last 2 I've seen. And I did say we haven't really seen many 1v4s on a map like this, or any solo carries, but if anybody could do it, it is Jackpacks on this form, but still has Listia to contend with, and Jackpacks does find the slider break there, and now Listia has a bit of an easier section to really bring this score lead over. It's only 500,000 points right now, but it's going to grow so quickly after the break. As long as Listia doesn't miss, even the slower section is going to push this score lead a ton in favor of z10a. By the end of the slow section, I imagine that's going to be close to 1,000,000 points in their favor, especially with the good supporting combo from Satsuki. GIORGIS doing a nice job of rebuilding, but until Listia misses, there's not a whole lot they can do, and this is a really tough section coming up here. There goes Satsuki, one supporting combo down, but quickly traded by Naked. As long as Listia holds, there is nothing GIORGIS can do. The third of the map to go. Listia on incredible form here. Escrupulilo, the next to fall in this last quarter. GIORGIS do have 2 good combos. Listia, Ollie fall. There goes Defi. It's Jackpacks holding. But is there time? Even if Jackpacks FCs, I don't know if there is. It's going to be incredibly close, incredibly down to the wire. Oh, but Suzuki was a Bancho miss, actually. So Z10A are going to be more than okay. They're going to close this one out and put themselves on match point. And it was kind of as suspected, you know? Jackpacks with a great score managed to Listia for top in the lobby. In terms of actual score, the only S rank in the lobby that is like, I mean, that is absurd accuracy. 97.33. Next best, 95 from Ollie. But again, just the map is so difficult to combo through that Jackpacks, despite the strong score, is not able to put up that same solo career performance. And Z10A have just consistently had the stronger team-wide performance. And that is the second highest accuracy on the map, second only to Misha Awa, who I mean has been absolutely popping off this tournament. Is currently second individual in terms of performance score. I mean, that could change given we still have this match to play, but Jackpacks is certainly in good company. And a very quick no mod 7 pick. Let's go out on a banger indeed. This is going to be an aim pick, so I do like they are going back to aim. Because they did look so good on that DT1. Obviously, this is much slower aim. It's quite a different, not necessarily a different style of aim from DT1. But just a different, aim feels very different from a pick like that, so it won't necessarily translate to the no mod 1, or the no mod 7, I should say. Ollie, very pleased with the pick. You know, like to see the players enjoying themselves. GIORGIS now with their backs against the wall. They're going to have to win the next 4 maps in the row if they want to keep themselves alive. Remember, this is the loser's bracket, so the loser of this match will be eliminated from Hippo Cup 9. The winner goes on to play Quit School. Looks like we have the rosters in. GIORGIS, they're going to be sticking with their tried and true core 4 players to make their last stand on this map. For z10a, we've got a second Musty appearance alongside Suzuki, Bai, and Ollie. At 2 minutes and 50 seconds, this is the longest map we've seen in quite a while. They've really been picking a lot of the really short maps here. So we're going to have a little bit of time to see them build up some combo. This is another unpicked map. Has been banned out, but first time we're seeing it played. Couple misses coming through for Z10a. This is certainly the start you want to see for GIORGIS, but it's an easier section of the map. And so it is really going to come down to this Ki coming up shortly. Jackpax finds the miss right before the Ki. Always unfortunate. Quick trade, but those are the players that already missed for Z10A. Scrupulilo now is going to drop for GIORGIS. And Naked, the last FC holding. There goes all 3 remaining FCs. Jackpax, I think the only one to hit that pattern. Actually, Satsuki as well, not too far behind. Holly, another mess. Not having a great time with the map so far. At the halfway point, 400,000 is far from a safe lead for GIORGIS. This is a bit of an easier section, and they do have slightly better support, so they should be able to keep this score lead right around where it is, but that is a 3-way miss for GIORGIS. Only tried to back by Ollie. There goes the thigh as well, but it is all on Jackpax once again for GIORGIS. There goes Jackpax. Shade misses that pattern. Satsuki, Musty, this French duo both hold, and all of a sudden, the end is growing nearer and nearer for GIORGIS. Is going to take an absolute miracle at this stage. I mean, we're going to need to see chain misses from all 4 players on the side of Z10A. But it's going to be nearly a full team reset for GIORGIS, and that is going to seal it. Z10A, after a hard-fought match, are going to close this one out 7-3. And they're going to be moving on to face Quit School later today at 17:30 UTC. So they're going to have about an hour to relax and to get some more practice in, figure out the pick band strategy for the next match, and they'll be right back to it. So huge congratulations to Z10A. Of course, commiserations to GIORGIS, who have had a good run in Hippo Cup. But I'm afraid that run has come to an end here in the semifinals. We've got 2 matches coming up, 17 UTC. So that's going to be in an hour. We've got the Irishman versus Catball on, I believe that one's going to be on the A stream. And we're actually going to have Sun versus Hippo Cup GIF on the C stream. And that way we can put Quit School and Z10 versus Z10A derank tax on the B stream once that starts. So maybe we can pin that somewhere in the chat so people can tune into the match you want to watch. But regardless, one more congratulations to Z10A. That is going to do it for us. We'll be back in an hour for more Hippo Cup. I have an iFlame, and I thank James as well for the stream, Sweetcoon for the referee, and last but not least, thank you all for watching. Don't stray too far. We'll be back soon with more matches to come.